Welcome to Autism Tips and Tools, where we highlight the best practical guidance from previous episodes of Autism Knows No Borders. Whether you're a self-advocate, a family member, or a service provider, there's something here for you. I'm Rachel Harmon, a professional in the field of autism services, outreach, and advocacy, and the following clip is from my conversation with Dawn Barclay, a travel writer and the mother to 2 autistic adults. Dawn's book, Traveling Different: Vacation Strategies for Parents of the Anxious, the Inflexible, and the Neurodiverse, offers helpful tips to soothe children's travel anxieties. Here's Dawn talking about how to prepare autistic children for travel, some creative vacation ideas, and the importance of building itineraries that include your children's special interests.
The first thing I would do is I would test drive the idea of staying in a bedroom other than your own or your child's own if they've never slept away from home before. So either go to a local cheap hotel for the night or stay at a friend's house or a relative's house who's kind and understanding. And you're immediately going to see the triggers that arise, whether your child needs the sheets and blankets from home with the familiar smell and texture of home. Key there is not to wash them before you go because you do want that smell. Same thing with the toiletries that they're used to from home. Do they need a fan in the room to block out sound from the hallway? Do they need a nightlight? You're going to find what's going to create a trigger right away. What I feel comfortable with is vacation rentals are a great idea, as are hotel rooms with kitchens. So if you get residential hotels like residence inns, or any hotel with a kitchen or kitchenette, because that makes life a lot easier if you can prepare food or store food that you might need if the child has issues with restaurant dining. I would also look for a hotel with a pool if your child needs to have a way to, work off energy and the sensory benefits of being in a pool. Of course, your child. That might not be your child. Look for hotels that would offer you a virtual check-in with your phone if you don't want to deal with the hassles of check-in. One person can go with the child to the room, the other one can check in, or you can do the whole thing virtually on your phone. That's often helpful.
Yeah.
I do list how to deal with houseboats, because that's another way to sort of have a vacation rental on the water.
Yeah.
If you want something a little different. And the beautiful part of a vacation rental or a houseboat is this room if you want to bring a family member or a caretaker, so you can have a little bit of time on your own.
Right. Yeah. And what tips can you offer parents who want to take a plane versus, a road trip?
Yeah. So the beautiful part of road trips, lots of space to bring whatever you need, not so much on a plane, and that can get expensive, but you can always ship whatever you need as well. I have a whole chapter, and it's one of the longest chapters in the book, dedicated to airline travel. So I can only scan the surface, but what I would say is look for your local ARC. The ARC puts together programs called Wings for Autism that let you sample, dress rehearse the airport from arrival to boarding. And that's really key because that can be really chaotic, especially when you're going through security. You can also find out if your local airport offers TSA Cares, which is a program that in the best circumstances will give you someone to shadow you and get you through security and different aspects of the airport. It varies per location. So those are 2 really good tips. You can role play ahead of time, maybe set up chairs in your home and give the child the instruction that you're not going to want to kick the seat in front of you. You maybe want to bring a remote control with you so that you can have the child press that instead of the attendant button. You're going to want to speak to the attendants when you get on the flight and inform them about your child and what your situation is. And of course, if you're booking through a certified autism travel professional, which I always recommend, they will advise every person involved in that trip, whether it's the airline, the hotel, the vacation rental, whatever, about your situation and send messages ahead of time, as well as be able to show you where you should stay.
Yeah, that's very useful to just have someone on your side kind of handling all those logistics.
Yeah. It's use the book as much as you can, but if you want somebody to take that off your shoulders, there are great people out there.
Right. I like that idea of setting up chairs at home to kind of simulate an airplane.
There's definitely strategies to get the child ready for travel, whether it's the videos that I mentioned in advance, previewing every aspect, creating visual schedules, creating social stories for different aspects of the trip, and these mini experiences that can go beyond the hotel to be, you know, putting a tent out in the backyard before a big camping trip, or before you take a cruise, maybe take a ferry ride,
Mm-hmm.
or, everything can be done in small bites.
Right. Yes. And what would you say are some uncommon vacation ideas that might actually be suitable for families with autistic loved ones?
What I love and what surprised me are sports vacations. So there is adaptive skiing, surfing, scuba, and golf. And so these are things that everybody in the family can enjoy, even going to a dude ranch and having horseback riding. They may not necessarily be set up for, quote, people on the spectrum, but a lot of the adaptive programs are. And so if a whole family decided to go skiing, there'd be a program for the child who is neurodiverse. There'd be programs for kids who are neurotypical. There would be my idea of the vacation would be getting dressed up and sitting by the fire in the lodge. But I mean, there's something for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that lets everybody explore, and for the child on the spectrum, you don't have to worry about it being a team sport and the social aspects that are involved in that. It's just sort of improving your own game or your own performance.
Mm-hmm.
I also strongly recommend building a trip around a child's pacing. So you're not doing everything all at once. You maybe go to one place instead of 6, and then spend the afternoon by the pool or in front of the TV to create, some decompression time for your child. And also building the trip around the child's special interests. If they're in love with dinosaurs, why aren't you going to a place where they can go to a dinosaur museum or see fossils? Or, why not make it a really memorable trip for everybody? And I think if you're dedicating the trip to revolve around a child's special interests, they're going to be able to deal perhaps better with the more mundane aspects of the trip because they have something to look forward to.
Right. That can help in the whole preparation part leading up to the trip.
Yes.
Yeah. So you kind of touched on this already, but do you have any other tips for families with children who really thrive in structured routine environments? Like how can they build in some of that even on a trip that is bouncing from one place to another?
That's really up to you and your advanced research, because you're going to know what the child needs. Does the child need to go to a playground every day? Then you're going to do research about where the nearest playground is, or maybe you're going to stay at a hotel that's close to the playground. You're going to make sure that you stay in a residence that has the different things you need, whether it's a pool or whatever it is. Maybe it's a workout room, like a playroom, if they have such things, or a playground outside. You know what your child needs. So, and you know your child's schedule. So how can you best organize that trip to stick as closely as you can to the schedule that they are used to, or explain ahead of time that this is a vacation and the schedule is going to be kind of different, but you can create a visual schedule and go over it time and time again. Don't spring the trip on the child. Start your preparation as far in advance as you can so the child is aware of what's going on.
Thanks for tuning in to Autism Knows No Borders. Would you like to hear Dawn talk about how to create a supportive travel environment for children with sensitivities? Follow the link in the show notes for the full conversation, and be sure to subscribe for more insights from people connected to autism, inspiring change, and building community. Let's work together to transform how the world relates to autism. Thanks for listening. Take care.